Okay, well, good Friday afternoon, Jet fans. It's a little after 12 noon on Friday, October 25th, Week 8 in the NFL. We have a lot to get to and a preview of the Jets and the Jacksonville Jaguars game coming up on Sunday in Jacksonville. A lot of headlines surrounding this team, around the coaching staff, around management, around players, around performance, around ESPN, around the loss, around injuries. But before we get into the Jets, let's look at the rest of the NFL this week. Last night, Week 8 kicked off with Minnesota hosting the Washington Redskins. Kirk Cousins playing against his old team. Adrian Peterson going to Minnesota playing against his old team. Adrian Peterson was actually surpassed LaDainian Tomlinson last night. 13,700 and something yards rushing. He's the sixth all-time NFL rushing leader. He did that in Minnesota, so it was nice. He got a nice ovation from the crowd. In the end, Minnesota wins 19-9, and Washington has one win on the year. But Minnesota, last year was in the NFC Championship game against the Rams. They are predicted to go far. They had some bumps along the road, but they're starting to get their groove going. They are 6-2. On the opposite end of that spectrum, you have the Rams playing the Bengals this week, and the Rams, NFC champions, are home. They are 4-3. They are playing the 0-7 Bengals. They're 13.5-point favorites. I think the Rams win, but I think the Bengals cover with the spread. Bills and the Eagles. This is a toss-up game. The Bills are 5-1. The Eagles are 3-4. The Eagles are trying to keep pace with or take the lead on the NFC East. They have already beaten. They already lost to Dallas, so this is to get them back up there. There's a big test for the Bills also to keep in pace with the Patriots, the only team they've lost to. I like the Eagles on the road getting 2.5. I think the Eagles also win this game outright. I think after the slaughtering that they got on Sunday, they come out and they hit the Bills and beat them. 49ers playing the Panthers in San Fran. 49ers 6-0. Panthers 4-2. Panthers getting 5.5. I'm not sure if Cam Newton is back or not, but I like the Niner defense regardless of who's in quarterback. The feel-good story of the year, Colts and Broncos. The Colts, losing Andrew Luck, their quarterback steps up. His name, again, is not coming to mind right now, but they are 4-2. They could very well beat this Bronco team, who's a 6.5-point underdog. In Indianapolis, I like the Colts. Patriots and Browns. I would love nothing more than to see the Patriots lose. I don't think they lose this game. They're given 12.5. I think they cover. Actually, no, I think the Browns maybe keep it close. But Baker Mayfield has been a turnover machine. If you saw that Monday night game with the Jets and the Patriots, they can recover turnovers. They can force turnovers. OBJ and Baker have not produced what everybody thought they would. The Patriots are just a machine. They're 7-0. They're probably going to wrap up the AFC East in a few weeks if they could pull away from the Bills. The Bills are 2 games behind. 2.5 really if you count the loss to the Patriots. So I like the Patriots. Packers and Chiefs. I think Patrick Mahomes is out. Packers are giving 4.5. They're in Kansas City, which is a tough place to play, but Kansas City has also lost in KC this year at Arrowhead, so I like the Packers. The Week 8 ends in Pittsburgh and Steeltown. The Steelers 2-4 hosting the 0-6 Dolphins. Dolphins 14.5-point underdogs. I don't think the Steelers cover, but I do think the Steelers win. And that's where we are now. So I'd like to get into a lot of what has been going on with the Jets. And let's start off with Sam Darnold, our quarterback, seeing ghosts. We covered this on Wednesday with our bonus coverage. Yesterday, it's funny. Sam, for a young man, has carried himself well in front of the podium. If you can remember back to Boomer Esiason, he lost his cool sometimes with reporters after games. If you can remember back to Chad Pennington, who Chad was a great guy, was a very knowledgeable guy. He kind of lost his cool with reporters also, telling them that it was a privilege to cover the team and it's, people would die for that job and whatnot. So quarterbacks are under a lot of pressure, especially here in New York, especially on a team that's losing. Mark Sanchez, who his first few years with the AFC Championship game actually had scripted answers in his post-game press conferences when he addressed the media, because sometimes what he would say would just be taken out of context. So Sam has been handling himself well. He handled himself well last year as a rookie. He handled himself well after his mono sickness and coming back. And he handled himself last week after the game. And he handled himself well this week with his press conference yesterday. Probably half, if not 3/4, if not 90% of the questions from reporters had to do with seeing ghosts, being confused, not being able to pick up the blitz, not being able to read, whatever it was. And Sam took accountability for the entire thing. He spoke as a leader. Excuse me. And then it was funny because at one point somebody asked him about the Jacksonville team, and he said, "Oh wow, a question about Jacksonville," and he got a nice chuckle from the reporters. So the reporters are also treating Sam with respect, which I like, because he's been nothing but class. We did find out that Sam's toe was injured during the game, and that was a lot of the reasoning behind him throwing off his back foot. He couldn't really plant his foot. So that kind of makes me a little bit more at ease, knowing that he just wasn't throwing off his back foot out of being scared, but because he was injured. They removed his toenail. He was limited, I believe, very limited in practice this week, but he is going to play. And I think he'll get past this. And this will show us the kind of player he is. Now, he can go out there and they can lose this game, but if he goes out there and puts up 200 and change and a touchdown and no turnovers, then Sam has passed it. I mean, if they go out there and win this game and he has 80 yards passing, but Le'Veon Bell has 250 yards on the ground, then we may have an issue with this guy with turnovers and whatnot. But I think Sam gets past this. He's too smart for this, and I think it was a big learning experience. I think it was a big learning experience for the Jets themselves. You don't put your player mic'd up, especially somebody like your quarterback. You want to put an inside linebacker, somebody like Jamal Adams, mic him up, fine. You can't put your quarterback. I wouldn't even put it on Bell. I would keep it away from players who are under a lot of pressure, under the microscope. Even though Jamal Adams is a young player, he is a leader on the defense, and I think he would realize what he was saying. I don't think Sam realized. I think Sam was so confused and so rattled Monday night that he forgot he was mic'd up. Again, I don't blame ESPN for playing the clip. They're in the business of business. It was a lot of Twitter clicks, clickbait as they call it. The video probably went viral, if I'm not if I'm not mistaken, it probably did go viral. There's been Ghostbuster shirts being produced. There's been Casper shirts. A lot of this, a lot of came out around this Monday night game. Belichick trying to get penalties when it was 33-0 for the Jets to take, so they can punt deeper. Belichick challenging a play, and then Belichick smiling on the sidelines. Listen, I'm not a Belichick fan. I wish we had the success he had. I just don't think as a coach he's classy. I think as a person he's classy, but that's just me. He has, everybody has personal issues and whatnot, but it just seems to revolve around that team, and nothing is ever really done about it. Your quarterback left his pregnant girlfriend and marry somebody else. You've had a gangbanger who killed people and was put in jail, and then unfortunately committed suicide. You had Deflategate. You had Spygate. You had I believe, some PED issues. Um, so listen, it is what it is. I wish I had those trophies. The Patriots do. I can't hate. I could just hope that we can get trophies in the future. So the Jets come off one of the worst losses in franchise history. C.J. Mosley comes back from injury, and he's really not back. I think he was forced back there. I think he forced himself back in, and he was a non-factor, and he's going to be out for an extended time. And the Jets said they're going to dig deep into his groin. I mean, even the headlines this team is getting, dig deep into his groin to figure out what's going on. I think Mosley is done for the year. Maybe he comes back late November. My thing is Mosley is a veteran. He's going to be a year older next year. Is he still part of this team? I hope so, because he showed me in that first game what he can do on this field before he got hurt. He actually got hurt defending a pass into the end zone. So he is a player. I just hope he can come back. Chris Herndon was supposed to be back last week. He didn't come back. Supposed to be back this week, and he was limited in practice, and now Twitter is saying he probably won't play Sunday either. We need him back. He is a big weapon for Sam. Sam likes to use Crowder and Herndon and Robbie. He doesn't have Quincy anymore. So Chris Herndon would be a big asset, and it would probably open up the running game for Le'Veon, because Le'Veon has not had that big game yet. He showed some spark last week. He's breaking tackles, but offensive line has just been pitiful. The center has just been pitiful. And I know they do these analytics, and they do these statistics, and they say, oh, well, on 48% of the passing plays. Listen, bottom line is there's no holes being made for one of the best running backs in the league. Is it rust from a year off? Could be, but he hasn't lost a step. You can see that. He just doesn't have the hole to get through. And that's why Sam doesn't have any time either. Keeping up with, the injuries and Jets being on the back page, Kalichi Osemele has been dealing with, I believe it's a shoulder issue. And his doctors have said he's due for surgery. The team has come out and said publicly, they told him he can get surgery whenever he wants, but they don't think he needs surgery. He can take cortisone shots. Supposedly, one of the doctors was given a blank MRI, so he couldn't give an assessment. It's just been a soap opera. And then on top of, Coach Gase being double guess, or second guess, I should say, they ask him if he's spoken to Osemele, and he says no. They say why? Well, he hasn't contacted me. You would think your coach would reach out to you, and if you're injured, but the coach has a lot on his plate. Personally, I think you reach out to all your players, regardless if they're third string, first string, star quarterback, or what have you. So this is not going to end well. He's going for surgery. I think he's going today for surgery. He's going to be probably placed on IR. He's been being penalized every week for missing practice, but this just doesn't sit well with the media. It doesn't sit well with the fans. Listen, it's a business. I don't know the stance the Jets are taking on this and why, but if you're a free agent, you're going to say it. They don't take care of their players. I don't know. But that brought me to something I remember reading. Back in 1999, the Jets were favored to go to the Super Bowl, coming off the 98 loss to Denver in the AFC Championship game. And everybody remembers Vinny Testaverde getting hurt in Game 1. But what a lot of people don't remember is the Jets had a tremendous amount of injuries that year. Wayne Corbett was hurt, I believe the second or third preseason game, running a route. He broke his ankle, or he broke his foot. He was missed for like 6 weeks. I believe Jason Ferguson, the lineman, was hurt. Backup wide receivers were hurt. You had Rick Meyer, who came in and couldn't do anything, and then you had Ray Lucas, who came in, and they were 1 year away from the playoffs. But Bill Parcells wrote a memoir that year, and it was basically a diary, a weekly diary that he wrote from the moment he started after the AFC Championship game the moment that the 1999 season started, the calendar started. And it's also how I started this website. I didn't want this to just be a news website. I wanted this to be a weekly diary of the team. Something that you don't get in the newspaper, something you don't get online, something that, somebody else that follows the team goes, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I was at that game. So I remember reading this years ago. I read this book many years ago. It's called Bill Parcells, The Final Season. And he had a player, I'm just going to bring this out here. Let's see. What's his name? Kevin Williams. And he's saying before a game he was complaining he had a sore throat. Doctors checked him out, gave him antibiotic. Next day he complained his sore throat was still there. It got to the point where he had such a bad infection in his throat, it spread to his lungs. His lungs filled with fluid. They had to be tapped, they had to be drained. He was actually in a life and death situation. Now, Parcells here references his statement, his agent, Jerome Staley, who was also Keyshawn Johnson's agent. And Jerome Staley basically came out and said that the team was negligent, that Parcells never visited this guy, that the team wasn't looking out for him. And now Parcells, of course, takes a different stance. He said that they were communicating with his family. He spoke to them, back and forth. And basically, they put him on a non-football injury list, which I think has something to do with his pay and how he's compensated. This is a business. The NFL is a business. From ticket sales to parking to the hot dogs to the hot chocolate to the merchandise, it is all a business. The product that they're selling is on the field. Okay? But they sell everything about that product, not just the players. They sell the emblem, the colors, the name, the sound, the sights, the food, sponsorship. So whether you want that personal contact or not, it's all in the eye of the beholder. I would like to know that my company, if I was sick or injured, they check in on me, especially if it was affecting the way I did my job. But it is what it is. This is not going to end well, and just another headline, another negative against this team. Mike Tannenbaum came out. Now, Mike Tannenbaum was a GM while Rex was here. He was fired while Rex was here as well. He drafted Sanchez. He drafted, I believe he drafted Geno Smith. I'm not sure. He was here when Tebow came over. And he came out and he said this was a story about Sam Darnold his whole career in college. Couldn't pick up a blitz, was turnover happy, fumbled. Mike, I respect your opinion, your professional views, but there's a reason why you're not a GM in the league anymore. And there's a reason why you were never a championship GM in the league. Did you have any talent evaluation? Yeah, but you were more of a contract guy, a money guy, a numbers guy. So yes, tweet whatever you want. I understand, you're part of ESPN now or NFL Network or whatever network you're on. I understand they want your opinion, your talent evaluation, but players change. Donald had a bad game. He is not a turnover machine like he was in college, and it is what it is. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I can't take this. I had a couple of people at the game screaming, Donald, you suck. The man has played in 3 games this year. They're 1-2. Can it be that maybe the Patriots were an overpowering team? They are 7-0. No, Donald, you suck. It is always the negative point of view that a majority of the fan base takes. I'm not going to say everybody. And listen, I can be as negative as anybody. My father is probably the most negative person on this team. My father and Joe Benignos would just sit together and have coffee. It would just be a yelling curse fest about the team. But they follow the team. Through thick and thin, they follow the team. You know, my father was in the hospital 3 weeks ago wearing his hat, watching the Jets lose to Philly. It is what it is, and that's my saying. But you have to be realistic. First of all, this team is not going to the Super Bowl this year. This team this year was to take the next step, develop Sam Darnold, get the running game going with Le'Veon. Quincy Enunwa to be, you know, the number one. Herndon to go into his second year and still show the hands that he had. Jamal to be that force on defense. Mosley to bring in that veteran aspect and knowledge. But it didn't work out that way. You know, I think it's spiraling out of control. I think the coach doesn't have his finger on the pulse. He's like a Todd Bowles that's more vocal. He lets you in a little bit more, but other than that, I don't think he has his finger on the pulse of his team, and I think that's going to be an issue. This team needs to be, you know, formed and molded, and I think you need, in my opinion, a veteran head coach who has some success. Okay? Success in winning. Not just one season, but maybe 3 seasons or 4 seasons. That being said, there is 10 games left. They start on the road. They're at Jacksonville this week, and then at Miami, and then home for the Giants for the next 3 games. You can look at them and say, wow, they're going to go 3 games. They're going to be, 4-5. Whereas Jacksonville, the Dolphins, and the Giants look and say, oh, well, the Jets coming up. We can get our wins now. This team is not going to the Super Bowl. They are far from a playoff team. They're a team being developed. They are a team that needs to grow. This is a huge test for the entire team. It is a test for Sam Darnold to come out and show, hey, I can bounce back from that game. But Coach Gates to come out and have a great game plan. Greg Williams, as great as Greg Williams can be, the defense was not at all good last week. It seemed like every time that the ball was touched by the Patriots, they scored. And yes, they had a short field sometimes, but for the most part, they beat us on every facet of the game. Jacksonville has that backup quarterback. They have won 3 games this year. They are 3-4. They're at home. Last year they ran up the score on the Jets. The year before that, the Jets beat them in overtime. I think the Jets win this. They're 5.5-point underdogs. I think the Jets bounce back. And I'm going to call it that Le'Veon gets his game going. I don't think they ask as much from Sam, but I think he's productive. I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna say 23-17 Jets win. That's what I think it's gonna be. Realistically, probably be 21-20, 23-21, closer game. I think it's within a touchdown. I think the Jets win. I think they put the negativity off the headlines a little bit. But again, it's all about taking steps. Game 1, they took a step, and everybody said, well, they lost Mosley, Darnold was sick. The next 3 games was steps backwards. They beat Dallas, it was a step forward. The last week they took 3 steps back. This is a game they need to take a step forward, a big step forward. Go out there and beat this team. Don't keep it close. Go out there and beat them. Dominate as much as you could. Check us out, www.nyjetstories.com, www.nyjetstories.com. Facebook, NYJetStories is our Facebook page. On Twitter, @NYJetStories is our Twitter handle. Check us out here on YouTube, and we're going to be posting videos at least 2 times a week, if not 3. And hopefully Monday I'm posting a video, or maybe late Sunday night I'm posting a video on how good this team played and how they bounced back. As for now, Jet fans, let's go. Let's go out there, let's win, and let's try to right this ship. Let's not go out there and try to win the Super Bowl, because you're not going to win the Super Bowl in Week 8 when you're 1-5. You're going to go out there and try to get to 2-5. So have a good weekend, guys. I'll talk to you next week.